iPhone 6's repairability actually good? Well, I've got a working model. It is just iCloud locked. And today we're going to find that out. So as you may know, it may not be as modular as a Galaxy S5, which was super modular with an interchangeable back and also a swappable back. But also there's some downsides to this as well. Because the case was made out of plastic, for better modularity, it was also less durable, meaning the case could crack and literally chip if you drop it, which is not good for the phone either. But you can just swap it out for like a different color if you want to, which defines modularity. But still, we're spending $10 on a case every time, like, this one actually breaks. But in 2014, the iPhone 6 was actually using aluminum, which actually, if you bent it, yeah, you know what happened. But durability wise, if you were to drop this, it would only have like a scratch. So, I mean, durability wasn't a factor apart from bending. But, the modularity still wasn't that. So you can't just take off the back and swap the battery, can you? It's not that simple. So today, I'm going to test out how modular this actually is, if it is at all. Okay, so first off, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to try and take the display off and see how easy that is. Now, I already have the screws taken out, but if you have these tools at home, a Phillips screwdriver, one of those tiny ones, then you should be able to do that just fine. That should be no problem. Make sure you just don't lose the screws. Now, I think what you can do is most people try to get the display off with their fingers, but that's actually not gonna work. You need an object like a coin or like a really thin object to try and get that display off. Yeah, like I've got another part from an iPhone 6s, and yeah, you can successfully remove the display. It's quite easy actually. You don't need any adhesive or anything. Or any like hair dryers. You just pop the display out with this. But yeah, you need to make sure that you're really getting into those crevices. Now you should have the display open, and for this you want to use a thin but like really thin strong object. Okay, so now we open the display and don't just yank it out. We first have to find the display cable. Now just make sure the phone still works from this point, because yeah, you want to shut the phone down if you can. Yeah, slide the power, and then okay, now you want to try and get the top part of the display out. Now that that is out, you want to carefully remove the top ribbon cables one by one. You see these connecting pieces here? Yeah, you want to carefully one by one remove them so you don't damage the display or display cables like that. And yeah, I should leave you with that. And there should be 4, mind you, so that's more than a 6s or but you should have that off. And how to tell it's completely off before taking it off is that these 4 display cable connectors should not have any display cables attached. That is how you know, well, it's taken off and you can take it off. They can be a bit fiddly, but don't worry. They don't get damaged that easily, as people tell. But yeah, you still need to be careful. Now you should be left with the outer frame and then the battery, the motherboard, etc. And so yeah, so that wasn't as hard as you'd think. But compared to even a Micromax phone, right? All you gotta do is just pry the plastic back over here with one fingernail, and boom, you're exposed to the battery. Yes, you do have to go inside to take the display off. But for this, you have to take the display off to access the battery, which is from the front side, and this is from the back side. So for the Micromax phone, you have to do the opposite. You have to take the back cover off to access the display, take a screw. But for the iPhone, you have to take the front display off to access the battery. Just gonna pop this shell back in the Micromax. Okay, now what you're gonna want to do is lay the display where the ribbon cables are flat, well, not completely flat, but flat enough. And then here you are left with the iPhone 6. So, how do we access the battery? Well, do you see this battery ribbon cable here? As you can see, it's there. Yeah, you want to try and pull that off. Now, it can be a little bit fiddly. Like this here, it can be a bit fiddly, but it actually isn't as hard as you think. And then yeah, here is the Apple original battery. So yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to get something sharp, like the tool that you used before. Yeah, don't use this, by the way. This can actually damage the now what you want to do for the battery display cable is pry underneath the display cable. Don't pry like on the sides, like pry directly underneath it, and then if you pry, it should be like that. Okay, and just do it gently. No need to apply so much pressure on it. As you can see, it is now being. Now what this allows you to do here is you can't just rip the battery off, otherwise you're gonna rip the display cable as well, because the battery has adhesion. If you want to transfer the battery through to another phone, I suggest you get like a plug / a guitar pick, and then slowly and surely from the edges start prying the battery, till the adhesive doesn't stick anymore. Because if you get a replacement battery, it should come with new adhesive anyway, so you wouldn't have to worry. You have to take the adhesive off anyway on this phone. So yeah, you'd want to, I don't know, even a coin in some cases would be fine, but you don't want to puncture the battery or dent the battery. You want something that's really thin and can go underneath the battery. Like for example, yeah, I'm prying this battery out, but also you have these connectors over, which you can take off with your fingers just like that. No tools needed. Once you got those off, you don't want to pry it like this, right? That's no, unless you're fine with kind of ruining the battery and just replacing the battery, then no. But I suggest you anyway, because that could puncture it and lead cause to a fire. But instead, what you want to do is you want to grab, like, I don't know, let me use this coin. You want to go underneath the actual battery, like here. You don't want to go like that, you want to go underneath. This is too thick, but yeah, because you want to pry it out. Once you've got the battery swapped out, what you need to do is, click that in, click these in as well. Don't forget those. Once you've got those clicked in, now the hard part is the display, because you have all these display cables that have to match up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a quick time lapse of me putting them in, and you have to be super careful not to mess anything up. Once you've got the display cables in, what you want to do is you want to quickly snap the phone back into place. So you don't want to do it too hard, because you could risk breaking the display. Go from bottom up and then keep snapping, and if the top does, then you're going to want to slide it in just like so, right? And then you're going to want to click the edges to make sure they go in, and this has to be aligned with it. The bottom part has to be aligned with the chassis so it can go in. It should be able to click in on so, and just firmly press down to make sure you're not missing anything, and boom, yeah, so it is completely done. And yeah, so that's how you repair an iPhone 6. But I say it's modular. It's not as hard as you'd actually expect it to be, but yeah, it requires a lot more effort than, let's say, a S5 or a Micromax over here. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next